Baek Yu-Seol's weakest skill becomes the only thing standing between prophecy and execution. Spoilers ahead for this Korean manhwa recap. Okay, so Baek Yu-Seol lives in a world where everyone respects big, flashy magic, and he gets stuck with Blink, a short-range movement skill most people treat like a joke. But here is the thing. When the game-like world starts pushing him toward its true ending, that so-called useless ability becomes a scalpel. He cannot overpower every genius, but he can appear at the exact wrong second for his enemies, protect people the system wants crushed, and read danger faster than stronger students can react. Now the Academy Forest is turning into a crisis zone, and the problem is no longer just winning a fight. It is deciding who gets saved before fear turns into murder. Baek Yu-Seol stands in a green forest with Academy students around him, and the air already feels like a test that has gone sideways. A brown-haired girl holds her sword but hesitates, like she knows this is not a normal training clash anymore. Then the fight snaps open. A dark blue-shadowed opponent moves through the trees. Green lightning-like energy erupts around Baek Yu-Seol, and suddenly his blink is not a gimmick. It is the only way to stay alive in a battlefield that keeps shifting. Flame appears near the chaos, and the moment the pressure rises, a fire-using student sends a huge orange blast crashing into the clash. The wild part is that everyone is still trying to believe they can win, but the forest is already hiding something darker behind the fight. The pressure pulls back into a sharper, more personal wound. A blue-lit figure repeats the same obsession in the dark. Ma Yu-Seong has to be defeated. Then we see where that desperation comes from. Inside the academy, a purple-haired student confronts Ma Yu-Seong and demands a proper duel, not because Ma Yu-Seong insults him, but because being ranked beneath him is eating him alive. Ma Yu-Seong reacts almost casually, which makes it sting worse. This student is not some random nobody either. He is tied to the Full Moon Tower, raised from childhood to become an elite mage warrior, trained like his entire life is supposed to prove superiority. And yet he stands there shaken by second place. That kind of pride does not disappear. It curdles, and soon it needs a target. Back in the crisis, the academy battle is still burning with dark blue-green magic, and now authority steps in with the coldest possible answer. A dark-haired commander-like man looks at a student affected by dark magic and talks about a prophecy tied to an awakening dark mage. Watch the shift here. He is not looking at a child who needs help. He is looking at a future disaster that should be erased before it grows. Stella stands nearby with her staff, clearly alarmed, but the command structure is already moving. Subordinates are ordered to act, and the language becomes brutal. If the future is known, then the child should be killed now. That hits hard because the academy's protection becomes a threat, and the person in danger is being judged by prophecy before anyone proves they cannot be saved. Now Baek Yu-Seol gets forced into the worst kind of standoff. A brown-haired academy girl is already questioning what kind of ability he even has, because her own magic is high class, and yet he keeps moving beyond expectations. Then a long-haired academy security officer confronts him and demands the identity of the dark magic-affected student. Baek Yu-Seol refuses to hand everything over, because once Hae Wonryang is exposed, the security force is not planning rescue. They are planning death. The officer warns that fighting them means Baek Yu-Seol dies, and honestly, that threat is believable. So Baek Yu-Seol makes the smarter move. He lowers the immediate confrontation, pulls attention onto himself, and asks for one chance to purify Hae Wonryang. It is reckless, but it is also the only path that does not end in execution. After the dark magic incident seems contained for the moment, someone suggests leaving the forest, and that should feel like relief. It does not, because once night settles near the academy buildings and the blue-lit forest path goes quiet, a hooded figure appears alone. They are not wandering randomly. They seem to be following a scent, a trail, something left behind by the chaos. Then blue, white, and green fragments gather around them as they ask the place to show memories. That is creepy in the best way, because it means the battlefield did not just leave damage. It left records. The hooded figure senses that fragments were borrowed or taken from this area, and as glowing motes pull toward them, The story quietly warns you. Even when the students leave, somebody else is investigating what really happened. Soon after that, the setting shifts into a blue-green sacred forest or something close to it, with glowing roots, trees, and strange natural magic everywhere. A white-haired guide-like girl takes the lead, and she is not treating this like a simple pretty location. She corrects assumptions, explains that the place has rules, and the other students react with confusion because the forest clearly has history they do not understand. A hooded figure appears briefly in the darker parts, keeping that uneasy mystery alive, while the group moves deeper into vivid green light. Then a red, deer-like magical creature appears, small compared to the bigger threats, but important because it proves the forest is not empty scenery. It is alive, watched, and connected to spirits or roots that the white-haired girl seems to know better than anyone else. And right when the forest starts feeling magical instead of hostile, the danger steps out. A dark red-black wolf-like specter appears near the students, surrounded by violent aura, and the blue-green spiritual energy of the forest suddenly feels fragile. The white-haired guide-like girl and a red-haired princess-like girl react fast, but the creature does not behave like a normal beast. Someone identifies it as a specter or corrupted forest presence, and the red-haired girl answers with fire, blasting orange flames straight into the threat. For a second, it looks like raw power might solve the problem. But the catch is that the expected reaction does not happen. The spirit energy feels wrong, the group is shocked, and the white-haired girl refuses to give an order she cannot accept. So the fight becomes moral, not just magical. This stretch works because Baek Yu-Seol's power is not about being the biggest cannon in the room. It is about timing, nerve, and refusing the obvious answer when the obvious answer is cruel. The Academy wants rankings. The security force wants control. Prophecy wants a clean execution. The forest wants something older and harder to understand. Baek Yu-Seol keeps landing between those forces, and every time he does, Blink stops looking useless and starts looking like the one ability that can interrupt fate itself. The latest threat is still unresolved, but the real question is clear. Can he save people without becoming the next target everyone fears? Subscribe for the next recap, because this sacred forest still has secrets, and Baek Yu-Seol is running out of safe choices.